with this analysis of Oregairu, I do want to ask you guys for a huge favor as we go through it. Whenever it gets uploaded to YouTube, if you guys can go ahead and help out and just spread the word, share it everywhere, show that love and support, you know, that would mean the absolute world to me. It's been a lot of hard work. It's been a lot of everything. So thank you guys. Like, it means the absolute world to me to have a community and for it to be 10K based out of like pure love and admiration and everything for the anime genre in general. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I'm so fucking excited for the show because all of you guys have hyped it up. You guys have told me like, this is the show to fucking analyze. This is it. Like, this is good. I haven't watched it. I haven't heard about it. All I've seen is the trailer that we watched here live. Ladies and gentlemen, do you guys want to give me a hell yeah, ladies and gentlemen? Are you guys fucking hyped? Give me a hell yeah, brothers, sisters, everyone in between. Give me a hell yeah, brothers. We're about to get started with this. Cheers. From 10K, mate. 10K. Cheers. Hell yeah. Drop Doritos. Drop all them Doritos. Better see them fucking going up and down. Hi, YouTube. Hey, welcome on in. In case you guys don't know me, hi, my name is Ed. I'm a psychologist. I tend to go ahead and analyze video games, anime, everything in between, and we tend to go deep. So, forewarning right here, I want to go ahead and preface this. We do tend to pause in the anime itself, you know, and talk in depth about multiple psychological theories and what the characters might be going through and empathize with them in 101 different things. I want to go ahead and preface this because a lot of people seem to think that I'm just going to go ahead and emoji react. Not my style of content. Love them, but not what I do, you know? So, we'll be stopping, we'll be talking, we'll be analyzing. We have an amazing live chat here in which we do go back and forth and we talk about all the wild theories and everything in between. You're more than welcome to participate and learn and ask questions and whatnot, even in the YouTube comments. That's the way this works, right? I'm just so happy to finally be able to go ahead and deliver this to you guys, and I hope I do it justice. Guys, if you guys want to come and join us over on Twitch, where we'll be doing an episode of Oregairu, probably either a Friday or a Sunday, depending on what works best for people. Mm.
青春を謳歌せし者たちは常に自己と周囲を欺き、自らを取り巻く環境のすべてを肯定的に捉える。
What an interesting, what a fucking fascinating way to start. And I genuinely mean this. In case you guys don't know, I've done a lot of different forms of therapy, group therapy, counseling with youth, children, adults, name it, right? I've done 101 different forms of therapeutic interaction. Going into this, one of the key things that stands out to me is, this, let's start off with the first line, right? Youth is a lie. It is evil. Him looking over at all of these attachments, it brings forth a number of like actual legitimate questions. Let me bring this up for you guys. And I know we're starting off early and I know we're going straight into it. Let's talk about this for a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the archetypes, otherwise known as how we visualize and see the world and ourselves, right? And we have different forms of ourselves out there. Some of us tend to portray the good archetypes of our world, right? We tend to go ahead and portray being the hero, being the innocent, being the ruler, being the creator, right? Being the caregiver, the everyman, the lover, the gesture. However, sometimes when we have trauma, when we go through something that either an acute stress event or a traumatic event that has stuck with us for a while, whether that's not having enough social support, love, care, getting rejected is another one. We can also use some of our shadow archetypes in which we can view the world itself. So for example, how many of you guys have seen something like this or have encountered? I'll even raise my hand for this. How many of you guys have said, hey, you know what? To them, to other people, I am the villain of their story. I have. That's popped up in my thing because I was hurt during that period of time, right? And for some people, you are the villain in their story. And that's A-okay, right? How many people have been told you, dude, you're so creative. You're so inventive. Dude, you're so, like, I love you. You're such an incredible individual or whatever. Some people may only see the good side of you. Right? For example, we have the elitist in here. I don't mean to throw any shade out there to any of my anime people, you know. I don't gotta call that out. Like, you know who it is, you know. To be honest, you're the one with the degree. But that's why, like, when we're pulling this all out, like, one of the key things that comes into mind is, look at these shadow archetypes that we see in this. The world is evil. Why does this come through, ladies and gentlemen? Youth is a lie. It is evil. It's a disillusionment. Yes. Is he a hater? Is he a tyrant? Is he a victim? Is he someone that's been hurt? We can say this without using like putting negative connotation in it, where he's viewing the outside world youth as it being evil, whatever, or maybe an elitist in that way. So when we're looking at these shadow selves, I want you guys to take that into consideration. Sometimes we revert into our shadow archetype, and sometimes these shadow archetypes take over our persona, right? When there's been issues that haven't been addressed. So for this character, starting off with such a strong force like that, it makes me wonder. Number one, we can immediately guess this is probably middle school or high school. Number two, he's already thinking like this, which for me is ringing alarms of support system. Where is his support system in this? And where does this come from? This shadow archetype mindset. Because all of it, I'll be honest, in high school, I was like that. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us have had some sort of a shadow archetype in of ourselves, right? We've gone through a period like that where we may have flipped, or we may have felt like we were the outside looking in, or like youth is evil or whatnot. And as you grow up, you're like, you know what? They're just stupid teenagers or whatever. Very, very interesting way to start off the series. And also, this, by the way, whenever I'm encapsulating moments like this, I'm not throwing any hate on any of the characters. It's just to try and understand where they're at a little bit more, right? I was a shadow only when people noticed me. Also, through that, hold on, comes in the next question, and still using the shadow archetypes, right? For you, when a person resides, when a person starts off doing a shadow archetype, or we have a shadow archetype, why do we reside in this? I feel like a lot of people, I'll be honest, I feel like a lot of people in hearing these words called me back to me being in high school and feeling like, oh man, standoffish or like isolationist. Just those couple of sentences that we saw immediately comes through. I'm like, oh, that shadow archetype of myself is coming through. Yeah. So if I were to ask this, how many of you guys identified at some point in time with this character? Maybe you outgrew it, or maybe you still identify with them, and that's A-okay. But I do want to go ahead and ask this. Why do you think the shadow archetype is something that a lot of people haven't heard of? Or why do you think that people go into their shadow archetype? This is just a general knowledge, like especially if you're studying psychology or you're a psychologist or a therapist yourself. It's a self-defense mechanism. Trauma can make us go into our shadow archetypes. And if this is his frame of thinking immediately, what cognitive distortions does our main character have? And what defense mechanisms is he using? Because a lot of people, when we're using our shadow archetypes, we don't use good self-defense, like good defense mechanisms. We don't have like cognitive stability a majority of the time. We have some weird things where sometimes we might overstep a boundary and hurt ourselves in the process. I hope that makes sense as to why I stopped that immediately and why I needed to go ahead and like, whoa, what a first sentence to go into, because that's a fucking statement and a half, ladies and gentlemen.
青春を謳歌せし者たちは常に自己と周囲を欺き、自らを取り巻く環境のすべてを肯定的に捉える。彼らは青春の二文字の前ならば、どんな一般的な解釈も社会通念もねじ曲げてみせる。彼らにかかれば、嘘も秘密も罪咎も失敗さえも青春のスパイスでしかないのだ。仮に失敗することが青春の証であるのなら、もしかして友達作りに失敗した人間もまた青春のど真ん中でなければおかしいではないか。
My boy needs therapy. Can someone bring him to my office, please? Oh, I just want to fucking give him a hug and be like, bro, we can work through this, brother. Like, what I'm hearing a lot of in this little... I'm going to let this intro play out. We're going to go back and we're going to talk about it. Hold on. I feel like doing some cognitive behavioral therapy or some dialectic behavioral therapy with them would do wonders. Absolute fucking wonders for him, because like the way that he's talking, I'll show you guys this. I'll reflect it back, and I want you guys to catch on, because this is a way for you guys to start cueing into what I'm thinking as well.
しかし、彼らはそれを認めないだろう。すべては彼らのご都合主義でしかない。結論を言おう。青春を楽しむ愚か者ども。砕け散れ。
I mean, powerful, really, really powerful. If this is like, you know, his essay or whatever this is, but I also want you guys to think about something. How is he talking? How is he talking as a character? And as a psychologist, this is usually what we keep in mind. Is he using I statements? Is he using I statements? Is he intellectualizing, which is a defense mechanism we actually have? Is he intellectualizing, chat? So here's my question. In the way that he's viewing, it's that sort of mentality. Absolutely, core one. But also, I want to go ahead and highlight this, right? I've dealt with a lot of teenagers doing therapy. And I think we've all been teenagers that have had a little bit of angst, you know? Through this, I've had a lot of teenagers that are antisocial, or they have some sort of detachment, or they're scared of forming connections with others because of how others can essentially how connections can spiral out of control if we think about it. So what is he doing when he's talking about all of these failures of youth? Is he using I statements? Is this emotion-based or is this thought-based? Is he just like, these are the facts, like this is why, this is the way it is, it sucks, it's dark, but this is why, and not really incorporating like his own, like, you know what, like I feel as though it might be this way because, you know, people are happy and people's emotions. So let me ask you this. Can you, as an individual, right, we're gonna summarize, you're this person over here, truly understand all the layers of someone from being detached, ladies and gentlemen? Or do you also have to empathize and learn emotions to understand some of these layers? You can have an overview of it. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you have to learn how to empathize with others and how sometimes emotion-based responses can give us a bigger picture, a bigger view of the picture overall. Both are necessary. And I feel like any good therapist, any good counselor, teacher, parent, whatnot, like that is worth something will tell you this. Having your thoughts, you can have as many thoughts as you want, even cognitive distortions, but please don't lose sight of empathy, because if you lose sight of empathy and what the emotional aspects of understanding are, that's a scary place to be. That's a very terrifying place to be, because what happens in a situation like this where someone from the outside who has lost or has started to detach themselves through an observational like lens starts looking in and they're like, oh, you know what? Like maybe they do start to form attachment or some sort of propinquity, which is just like, you know, like how we form relationships and stuff. What happens? All of a sudden, guilt starts to surmise in for individuals that haven't had a balanced view of their society, and it can get overwhelming. A balanced view of the situation in general. Guilt can be one of those things that can attack us in ourselves. And I wonder if he's even processing this himself. Do you think that he is this way because he wants to be this way? And that's another question I'll throw out to you guys. Do you think our main character is this way because he was naturally formed to be this way? Or did something happen that pushed him into this form of thinking, this way of thinking? Ah.
青春を謳歌せし者たちは常に自己と周囲を欺き、自らを取り巻く環境のすべてを肯定的に捉える。彼らは青春の二文字の前ならば、どんな一般的な解釈も社会通念もねじ曲げてみせる。彼らにかかれば、嘘も秘密も罪咎も失敗さえも青春のスパイスでしかないのだ。仮に失敗することが青春の証であるのなら、
もしかして
友達作りに失敗した人間もまた青春の
Who hurt you? Who fucking hurt you? Oh. I like feel fucking pain, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, my heart's breaking as I'm fucking hearing this out. Look at the way that he views all of these relationships that are happening. I want to go ahead and ask you this. Do you think, how many of you guys have had two conflicting beliefs? How many of you guys in general, and even you on YouTube, have had two conflicting beliefs? Say, and we've talked about the shadow archetype. But say you might think that this is like a good thought and then the bad thought or whatever that like completely hurt from time to act on. How many of you in high school or in some type of environment wanted friends? Genuinely wanted a connection, not even a friend, but a form of connection, but at the same time you wanted to be left alone. How many of you guys like maybe even criticized people in band and theater and drama and were like, stay away, like, oh wow, like those people or whatnot. But at the same time, you were yearning for some type of a group, of an environment where you can thrive, where people were there and you'd laugh and you'd listen, even if it's just for a little bit. Like, for example, some of us might want to go ahead and be like great streamers, right? Great everything. And like, you know, be able to go ahead and do stuff. And at the same time, we might be like, in case you guys don't know, streaming can get really lonely really quickly. It can be a very, very lonely situation. And then at the same time, you might be like, but I also want friends, but friends have caused me trauma in the past. And I don't want to go ahead and, you know, equate this again where I can get hurt and I can lose both. And if you guys are like, wait, what do you mean, Ed? How are you getting all of this? Look at his self-talk, right? All of his self-talk in this instance. He's talking negatively, whatnot. Is that you? Why does he turn? Boys, why does he turn? If you genuinely feel this way, why do you turn? And I know some of you guys might be like, dude, you're fucking blowing this out of proportion. You're literally grabbing this and throwing this because there's a feeling of hope. There's a feeling of hope that might just be you that they're talking about. There's a feeling of hope that maybe someone's saying, hey, how are you doing today? When you're like, dude, no one's ever really talked to me. He's longing. There's a long for connections, even if you have a tough exterior, even if you try and shut yourself off, even if all of a sudden we're like, and there's that longing for connection. That's why I bring it on about. This hurts. I'm not going to lie. This hurts. This hurts because I feel like if I would have watched this beginning piece in high school, I'd have been like, he's just like me, for real, for real. Just from this little bit. Oh, I can't confirm, for real. Oh, how many of you guys actually watched it in high school? Oh, touch me. He's just coping off for real, Ophelia. Actually, funny enough, I had a kiddo, right, who would come to group therapy. And like the way that he would communicate in therapy, he was very antisocial, anti-everything. And he had a longing for making connections, right? Like he genuinely wanted to make connections, but he would keep himself isolated, right? And like all of a sudden he would just start like busting out in rap. He would just be there and like be like, because that was his form of trying to pull out a rope to try and connect with people. And it'd be like, you know, dropping bars and going ham. Now I know this is cringy, right? And this is not exactly what I said because I forget his exact words, but essentially, like, you guys ever encounter where it's like, dude, your therapist or your psychologist is fucking wild, bro? Because like he was over there, like he's rapping his scenario of what's happened in his like high school week and how he's trying to go ahead and process it. And he's a really, really good freestyle rapper, dude. Like a straight up, just like going for it. And I'm over here trying to make sense of it and compile it. And I'm just like, you know. So when a lady lets her hips flow like a hypno, you get drowsy. All the motherfuckers just, you know, just start fucking dropping like bars with them in order for him to like conceptualize and find a connection so he can open up. And I think that's a great way to build rapport, a great way to solidify, and you're able to go ahead and expand from it. Looking at him, this is why I'm like, dude, I feel like he needs some form of therapy. I love this kid, but he needs some sort of therapy, brother. Yeah. This is an awareness, right? How aware is he of himself? Even as our inner observer, right? The way that we process aspects of our shadow selves, right? There are things that we project onto others. This is just a way of seeing why he's observing what he's observing and what he might be projecting out into the world, right? Why is he going ahead and thinking this way? Like, God, they must die. The youth, you know, You know, like it just fucking like going out there with like all of this shit. Sometimes our inner observer has to mix aspects of what we want to portray and aspects of what we want to stay hidden. Right now, I think this is probably the best way to showcase. If you were to ask me, Daddy Ed, Papi Ed, what are you talking about? What are you seeing here that you got to go ahead and touch on? This is a defense mechanism. It's by Anna Freud and Freud himself as well. Anna Freud expanded on it. What are we seeing here? I'm going to be straight up. Reaction formation. Forming an emotional reaction or attitude that is probably the opposite of one's threatening or unacceptable actual thoughts. Matt is unconsciously attracted to Ben, but outwardly voices an extreme hatred of, homosexuals. That is a form of reaction formation. Another form of reaction formation is, hey, I hate these relationships that are happening. Ugh. Hey, how you doing? I hate you. I hate you. But on the inside, I'm like, oh my God, will they notice me? Oh, geez. Oh, no, I don't know. That is a reaction formation. A soon is a reaction formation, For you guys, are you guys seeing that as well? What other defense mechanisms are you guys seeing that our main character is portraying? It's not like I like you, idiot. Like that type of a thing. But yes, what other defense mechanisms are you guys seeing that our character is portraying at the moment? Compensation. Trying to make up for areas in which a lack is perceived by becoming superior in some other area. Displacement. Sandra gets reprimanded by her boss and goes home to pick a fight with her husband. What I'm curious about, I wish there was a bigger theory on, and this is me just being very straight up with you guys. There is, because it's more of an aspect of self. I mean, we can look in cognitive distortions and everything in just a second, because I'm developing a whole... How old is our character? Mental 18, so 16, right? 16, 15, 16? He's around 15, 16, right? What is an identifiable problem that we're seeing immediately? Lack of connection, isolation. We're seeing a lack of connection, right? We're seeing sort of a reaction formation from that. So we can go with the lack of connection, isolation. Isolation, that's a good one. With a reaction formation formed. Second to last, antisocial personality. Well, I mean, we can go with that. What cognitive distortion are you guys immediately seeing? Are you guys seeing from this? There is some levels of projection that are, as we talked about, like our archetypes and our shadow selves, and how sometimes we can project that up into elements that we want to go ahead and keep hidden in there. Overgeneralization, fantastic. A student receives a bad grade on one exam. Based on this thinking, they think that they are stupid and a failure, and believe that all future exams they will get a bad grade as well. Polarized thinking: a student who gets an A- on an exam feels like a failure because they're only used to getting A+. They have the mentality, if I'm not successful at everything I do, I am a complete failure. A bit of blaming. Okay. We now notice that they have a reaction formation formed. I would not be surprised if we see all of these cognitive distortions. I would not be surprised if as a character, he turns into what is called like a martyr, like a self-martyr, in order to keep an instance of himself alive. An instance of this cognitive distortion, this pattern, this schema, this worldview that he's encapsulated in a shadow self alive. Because a lot of us do that. It's a natural tendency for humans to go ahead and do. Sometimes we look for the negatives to reaffirm that belief. And sometimes we go out of our way to make that the truth. It's a mindset. So for example, how many of you have gone out and have literally, I hate to put it this way, sacrificed yourself socially in order for you to, maybe unknowingly, maybe you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart because you felt like another group of friends needed to go ahead and be cohesive and good, or your partner needed to have a better relationship with their siblings or whatever. So you decided to go ahead and be the villain, or maybe take a shot, or maybe do something that was self-sacrificing or martyrish in that way. White knighting in an aspect. I'll be honest, I have. I absolutely have. There's been times where, you know, you can have friends and whatnot. And you're like, you know what? I feel like I shouldn't be here. Hey guys, I'm going to go ahead and dip. And people are like, dude, why are you dipping? You shouldn't be leaving early. The club's just getting started. And it's like, nah, you guys need this more than I do. I appreciate y'all. And then you get back and the group's changed a little bit. And the group treats you a little bit weird. And the group's built propinquity. And they now kind of push you a little bit on the side. How many of you guys would rather save other people, go out of your way to be there for friends, even when they backstab you? How many of you guys have ever done that? I have. I've gone out of my way to help friends. I don't care if they hurt me in the process. I still love them. They're still a friend of mine. How many of you guys will do anything and everything for family, regardless of the roasting, regardless of sometimes the negative like schematics that come through with it? Why? Boundaries, if they're not learned at an early age, even in high school, as to how to place them correctly, it gets harder and harder as an adult. Do you think that he would want to go ahead and keep this new group of friends for himself? Or do you see him trying to go ahead and reestablish even aspects of this unconsciously, unknowingly, because this is the worldview that he has? Maybe because if you overstep or do something, you might hurt your sibling or whatnot. We also know that he has shadow archetypes, right? So he has a little bit more of that unconscious reckoning of himself. But in comes in the next question, and one of my favorite things. And this is a good way of teaching and learning more about the characters as well. Where is he? This is Erikson's developmental stages, psychosocial developmental stages. He's in adolescence, 12 to 18. The basic conflict of that is identity versus role confusion. Who am I and where am I going? I'll read this. The outcome. Teens need to develop a sense of self and personal identity. Success leads to an ability to stay true to yourself, while failure leads to role confusion and a weak sense of self. By the way, you can take a look at one above and one below, because that's usually where you range in a developmental stage. Important events, intimate relationships, key questions to be answered. Am I loved and wanted? Outcome. Young adults need to form intimate, loving relationships with other people. Success leads to strong relationships, while failure results in loneliness and isolation. Is this relationship real? Or is this relationship made out of fakeness? Are we just living on the fake superficiality of relationships? You're going to be gone. You're here for a day, a season, a reason, maybe my life. Who knows? Are we building a genuine connection out of the things that we love and enjoy and going in deep? Or are we just talking about the weather, about the newest video game, and not really knowing who we truly are? He might have had a failure in identity versus role confusion. Now we're seeing the effects in intimacy and isolation. Taking all of this into consideration, what do we have? Someone who is probably going to be very mistrustful about making any connection. We're probably going to have someone who is going to struggle at forming meaningful attachments. Any meaningful attachment, and I do mean this from the heart, you have to be vulnerable. You have to, and it's scary. It's the scariest thing that you can do. I know, because you can get hurt. And this is why we build up walls and we build up defenses, because sometimes it gets so fucking scary to be vulnerable and to be open like that. But we have to be open to vulnerability. We have to be open to showcasing who we truly are in order to build these attachments, to build relationships. That is a powerful thing. And I don't think a lot of people say that. It's very rare that I've heard people be like, you know what? Vulnerability is the key to connection. When I've heard a psychologist friend of mine, not Brady, by the way, another one, literally say that. And I was like, dude, you're like one of the other people I've ever heard say that. And I'm like, she's amazing. Like absolutely fucking amazing in that regard. That's what I'm imagining. I'm also imagining sort of like the social pressures that come with like whatever our main character might go through from trying to perform. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, this is a fucking masterpiece. This is Gestaltian, bro. This is a form of therapy that a lot of people don't even talk about. It's called the empty chair method. Empty chair method, and it even has a book on it. Empty chair method is often used as a way for us to put individuals in here. So for example, whenever we have big issues, and whenever you go to therapy and they're like, hey, you know what? We're going to try something out. It's called the empty chair method. This is what it is. Let's say that you have deep-rooted issues or trauma with someone, right? A therapist might go ahead, or a psychologist might be like, hey, here's there's this empty chair, right? I want you to imagine as if this person is here. Like if this person was sitting here, you can envision him and you can straight up put an individual in here. What would you say to him? What would you do? What story would this person tell? Seeing as though this is a story that's left untold, I wonder if this is also a self-narrative or a narrative tool that's going to be used in it, right? For our main character to maybe even expand. So if someone called a chair a nuisance and dismantled, what would that mean, Ed? Well, it's not like dismantling it. It's imagining that an individual is here and you're able to go ahead and process your emotions and use imagery as a way of doing things, right? But seeing an empty chair like this, it makes me wonder, how many times has this happened? How many times has this chair been here? Are you the only person in here, or are there more? Because there doesn't seem to be any others. And I know that this is like, you guys, you're probably like, dude, you're reading way too into it. But for me, this cements a really particular element of like self. Like, I don't know about the author, but I think like simply choosing this as an imagery to like open up into. So is he going to have 2 love interests or 3 love interests? Hold on. Could be friends as well. The only reason why I point that out is because like the way that this is shot is like right, left, middle, right? And power dynamics wise in a situation like this, whoever... We'll showcase it like this. Let's imagine this is a table, right? You have someone here, someone here, someone here, maybe they're in their own little desk or whatnot. What does that mean, right? In an interaction like this, what does that mean when you have like a frame that's like this, when you have 3 different shots that are being showcased like this? Who is the mediator in something like this? Who has maybe an inst of power? Because these are usually seen as forms of positive, negative, power, control, whatnot. Usually the mediator role goes in the middle, right? As a way of trying to bridge both things. What is that in this scenario? So now, what happens in an environment like this where there is no third person? And I don't know about the show. I'm just showcasing what it means in power dynamics wise. Power dynamics, usually whenever we have a person here, they act as a way of literally getting all the thoughts and being able to go ahead and like process them and bring people together. Maybe sometimes they themselves can act as intermediaries for themselves or abroad, which this could build propinquity and this could build propinquity and this could build propinquity. It's a cycle of propinquity in an essence like this. I build this up just from the shots that were shown. If he's in the middle and he has interactions with these people, he is literally in the middle of like, you know, of a table that's moving, essentially. A table that is constantly probably shifting. If these girls are like any form of an attachment or a viable candidate for romantic, where the table might shift like this, the power dynamics shift. Let's go ahead and continue. You can't tell me no, bro. You can't tell me no. Look at the way that they're literally framing this, bro. Her going up the stairs and whatnot might just be a completely irrelevant shot, but I always go off of the philosophy that there's nothing irrelevant in anime. Everything's shot for a reason. There's everything there for a reason. They could have chosen her coming down, but they didn't. They chose her going up and skipping and hopping and landing like this. Is she in a path where, like, it might sound silly, it might just be the symbolism that's presented here, because anyone going up a flight of stairs, it's usually whenever people talk to me about their dreams, you know, and them achieving some form of self-actualization. Is this character trying to achieve some form of self-actualization? Is this character, in a way, trying to go ahead and maybe work through some issues, or literally, any show is going to work through some issues. That's fucking stupid, and I hear you saying. But maybe one of the key things is maybe self-actualizing, stabilizing, and then trying to keep moving up. And even looking back and smiling like there's someone there. Could be self-pride and whatnot, but I still love these shots. She's right in the middle. Them two are on the side. They're walking in different directions. She's in the middle, right? They're walking in different directions. We talked about framing and literally like what a mediator is. We see her in the middle and them two on the sides. Even though she might be looking away, she's still in the middle. Is she going to be a mediator for them both? Is she going to act as a mediator for them to be able to go to and I don't know, communicate or talk or whatnot? And then vice versa. Is she going to be the mediator for them too? Think about it. They're all switching position. That's interesting. That fucking tingles my brain and scratches an itch. Who's best girl out of these two? I don't know their names, but who's best girl? Now I gotta ask the real questions, brother. ask that, bro. I don't know who. I'm just saying, brother. I gotta keep it based. And then look, it landed right back into him. Of course, it's a triangle, so someone has to be in the middle, right? But like, he lands right back in the middle. Is he gonna be the mediator between them, boys? Boys. I don't know. Boys. Boys. There it is, Ed. Is that a lab coat I see? Is that a lab coat I see there? Is that a lab coat I see? No, hold on. Is that a lab coat? Now, hold on. I'm fucking crying. Wait, what? Well, thank you, Chad. But I was literally just using an aspect of power dynamics and connections and the symbolism behind shit. Wow, you guys are fucking insane. I appreciate you guys. All right, guys, to do that, I want to say, I know we only looked at the images here, not really the lyrics. How about we do the lyrics next episode, yeah? I know we're 2 minutes in, and it's a 24-minute episode. Really, really powerful. Wait, this is just the OP? I know for a lot of people, this might make them really uncomfortable whenever they go into a show like this. And like, say that they're showing a lot of shadow selves. They're like, ew, why would you like a character like that, right? Well, and so on and so forth. But at the same time, it's because there's an aspect of a challenge there. I love shows that can showcase sometimes a character that isn't the greatest. Give me a character who might have a cognitive distortion or thoughts like this and how he's trying to work towards it. And I'm really digging it. Just from the intro and that little like segment there, I'm super duper excited. But guys, are you guys enjoying it so far? I hope you guys are. To be fair, if you had a student like our main character here, hello, first time here, am I late? Chris Nova, we're just past the opening. If you had a student here, just like the main character, what would you do? If he came to therapy, what would I do? I'll tell you what I do. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen this triangle sometime in your life. And if you're in high school, you're probably going to see this triangle going forward in your life. You know, where is he at? He's in level 3, friendship, family. You know, this is where he's struggling. He's at the third stage and he's struggling here. Here's what I would do. Anybody in the third stage, right, who might relapse down or like might start climbing up. Social support groups, going into theater, going into band, going into literal like therapy or different forms of groups that they can interact with so that their third stage, this family friendship set, like whatever, can start being met. These genuine connections have to be met in order for him to be successful in the other stages. Why are social support groups important? What happens over a period of time? Spending a period of time with people. It's one of my favorite P words. Propinquity. It's the reason why you fall in love. It's the reason why you make genuine friends. It's the reason why you're able to go ahead and share in stuff that you might have not have shared of before. You're building vulnerability. So as we're looking at this, I want you guys to question yourself. What would you do in the shoes of a teacher who has a main character like this? That's what I would do. If I was his therapist, if I was his teacher or whatnot, I would try and push him in that regard because that is like the most adult thing to do. And that is probably the best way for him to be able to build on his interactions going forward. That makes no sense if you're like, bro, okay, it is what it is.
高校生活を振り返ってというテーマの作文でしたが
それでなぜ君はこんな舐めた作文を書き上げてるんだなんだこれどうしてこうなったはあたく君の目は死んだ魚のような目だな
そんな DHA 豊富そうに見えますか賢そうっすね
真面目に聞け
You know, I'll take one for the team. It's all good, brothers. She can fix me. Totally would have.
いや、俺はちゃんと高校生活を振り返ってますよ。近頃の高校生は大体こんな感じじゃないですか。
君の目は死んだ魚のような目だな。
そんな DHA 豊富そうに見えますか。賢そうっすね。
真面目に聞け。いや、
俺はちゃんと高校生活を振り返
So aside from the content of their discussion, which we can go into, she does something in here that I find really marvelous. In psychology, a lot of people think psychologists and therapists are just going to listen to you all day and be like, wow, how does that make you feel? That type of a situation, right? No. She has just done a process called rupturing/confrontation. That process of rupturing whatever relationship, right? It's a form of confrontation where in a therapeutic setting or in a professional setting, you push someone back a little. Depending on the reaction, you're able to understand a lot about that individual. So for example, for our main character here, one of the things that's coming into my mind from this is if he's acting this way, he has fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. What does he do?
ってますよ。近頃の高校生は大体こん
What does he do? Look at his eyes. Look at the way that he's defending. So what will happen to him? This is done in a safe space where a teacher is doing on this and he's deflecting and he's doing all of these things. What would happen to him when, say, his partner or his best friend were to ever confront him? If he had a best friend, you know. What would happen in a situation like that? Would he fawn? Would he not know what to do? So he just freezes up. This is his natural state. He's deflecting. What would he do in an environment where friends or loved ones or family were to put him in the middle? What happens? And that's a question to ask yourself, and a very important question outside of just the anime. How do you react in a situation like this? And this is where you have to have conversations about. Sometimes you have to act on your emotions and not so much thoughts and intellectualizing things to defend. Isn't this what high school things do this day? It's like, I'm sorry, I felt bad or I felt shitty or whatever. This is where emotions come into play. This is why the importance of emotions needs to be there. He's intellectualizing. He's trying to go ahead and deflect using his intellectual knowledge. Really, really important. I would disassociate probably. A lot of people do. A lot of people do.
感じじゃないですか。
小僧、へりくつを言うな。
小僧って。いや、確かに先生の年齢からしたら俺は。
Bro, you don't fucking say that. You don't say that, bro. You don't say that, bro. I love the fact that it just went from tense to comedy. Deserved.
書き直しも。
ちょっとついてきたまえ。
God, this teacher, bro. She's killer like this, dude. I'm falling in love with the sensei. She put him down for his age and he reminded her of it. Sensei is best girl. She's so good, dude. She's so good.
ノックをしても君は返事をした試しがないじゃないか。返事をする間もなく先生が入ってくるんですよ。それでそのぬぼーっとした人は？
俺はこの少女を知っている。国際教養科 J 組。女子が9割を占めるそのクラスは
90% of which are girls.
派手なクラスとして知られている。その中で異彩を放っているのが雪の下雪乃。学内誰もが知る有名人だ。
However, just because you're in a classroom that's 90% girls doesn't mean that you can make friends. I can be, for example, I can be in a convention full of psychologists. That doesn't mean that I'm going to make friends with all of them. That doesn't mean that you're going to go out there and be like, I'm going to be super duper friendly. Like, no, bro. Sometimes you struggle even. Like, I'll be honest. Some people have been like, oh, you're the anime psychologist type of person. Yeah, bro. No, we don't take media, like actually using media as a form of psychoeducation that seriously just yet, you know? And it's like, come on, dude. Like, there's a lot of interesting stuff that you can pull up and use as a form of crossing even cultures and boundaries and whatnot to talk about these things, like international boundaries, to talk about, you know, psychological concepts, which is why I find this interesting. And I'm going to go ahead and, it's been a while. I'm going to go ahead and put this on real quick. We're about to cook. You better say, yes, chef. Yes, chef. Oh, baby. Yes, chef. Now, we have a situation in here where the sensei is acting as the intermediary of trying to go ahead, maybe even bring this in closer after reading this essay. What does that mean? Why is the sensei so involved in this situation? I'm going to go ahead and push this even further, right? We have the girl, right? We have the MC. We have the sensei, and we have the girl that we saw in the opening, the orange-haired girl. Sensei is overlooking this. The main reason why I'm highlighting this, I'm putting a question mark on Sensei, is because Sensei is introducing the main character to this girl, which we've already seen that relationship that is like clearly there because of the opening. There's an orange-haired girl who appears in the opening as well. So we know that there's going to be some sort of connection. How's the Sensei going to overview this? Is Sensei going to go ahead and be a person that steps in from time to time in order to give either the main character or the girl some advice as to go ahead and proceed throughout any difficulties that apply, which would be an excellent way of showcasing the power of an actual good sensei, a good teacher, as opposed to a silent voice, which we can talk about that later, but like a good teacher, a good role model of what a counselor or an individual that cares about you should do? Or are we going to go ahead and see a way in which sometimes you have to put people you love in difficult situations that they might not be comfortable in for them to start growing? And that is what Sensei is doing in a way, testing the same way that she confronted him in this way with this girl here. That's only the appetizer. Is the MC the MC? I know what you guys might be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I genuinely mean this. Will it reach a point? Because his, like, you know, so far from what I'm understanding, what his area of growth is, or what his area of growth might be to try and go ahead, and we have this connection in here, right? Between orange-haired girl, this girl, and the MC. Will there ever be a time where this flip, and if we're talking about this is the position of power, where it might be orange, MC, and girl, or girl, MC, orange? Because all of these can have different rooms of growth. So my question of, is the MC, meaning is the MC going through critical periods of hyper development throughout the entire series, or does the focus shift accordingly to whatever the main themes might be? If the main theme is attachment or understanding what levels of attachment might be, would it shift from one to another, or what levels of like caring and friendship and narrative is, would it shift accordingly if these are the three main characters that we see? By the way, this happens in any group environment. In any group of friends that you have, yes, you're growing, but some people are going through critical areas of development while other people are slowly rising, and then the shift might, it's all of a sudden you might be going through a critical area of development, and your friends might be watching you, or all of us might be going through. So for the dessert, we have a little bit of a tres leches cake. Vamos a hacer un poquito de tres leches together, ladies and gentlemen. Necesito toda la lechita de todos ustedes. That sounds wrong. That sounded really wrong. I did not just say that. I need all the milk for this one. We've talked about propinquity and detachment. If orange-haired girl comes into this, I'm scared. If she's not just like a come-and-go character, I'm fucking scared. Because propinquity is a form of attachment, is a form that we develop deep attachments. Now, what happens if we have the main character who's already stated used as evil, used as a lie? What happens if these characters, due to propinquity, start getting too close? You push. You shove. Sometimes you close off. Sometimes you build a giant barrier, a wall or something there. Sometimes you go into paralysis mode. If I were the writer of this show and I was like, you know what? I really want to make sure that this is touching on like real elements. I would make the main character have to make a really tough choice due to propinquity of either some of these girls feeling really attached to our main character and our main character having to make a fundamental choice of growth. Is he going to go ahead and accept his truth, accept the reality of his truth, or is he going to have to deny his truth and have to break through these walls of scariness, of vulnerability, to be able to talk and make a choice? And that is your dessert of the day. As we're going through this is all coming from the interactions that we're seeing and sort of the instances where that might be. I hope that makes sense, ladies and gentlemen. All right, do you guys feel warm from that cooking? Because that was a pretty decent meal. At least I thought. I hope so. I hope it establishes something, because I'm looking at this and I'm like, people will grow throughout attachment.
2年 F 組引き換え8万です。おい、入部ってなんだよ。
君にはなめ腐ったレポートの罰としてここでの部活動をめ。
But it was actually kind of good. Okay, Sensei, I need a little bit of disagreement in my life here. You know, like, I think it was actually pretty good. I think we could actually probably submit it somewhere. You know, like, I thought it was decent. For a high schooler, I'd fucking take that. Delicious.
異論反論講義質問口答えは一切認めない。というわ けで見ればわかると思うが、彼はこの腐った目と同様根性も腐ってる。そのせいでいつも孤独な哀れむべきやつだ。この部で彼のひねくれた孤独体質を構成する。これが私の依頼だ。お断りします。そこの男の下心に満ちた下びた目を見ていると気がつく。
I'm sorry, guys. I see danger. I see ulterior motives in those vulgar eyes of yours.
断じて見ていない。そんなつつましやかな胸など。いや、
Hey,
安
hey.
心したまえ。この男のリスクリターンの計算と自己保身に関してだけはなかなかのものだ。
Self-preservation.
問われるような真似だけは決してしない。彼の小悪党ぶりは信用してくれていい。
いや、常識的な判断ができるって言ってほしいんですが。
小悪党。なるほど。
聞いてない上に納得しちゃったしよ。
まあ、先生からの依頼であれば無下にはできませんし。受けたまわりました。そうか。なら頼んだぞ、雪の下。
Seeing her interactions with like the sensei and whatnot in general, how long has she been here like this? How would you be friends with her? I'm thinking about this. I was trying to process this correctly. How would you try and be friends with her? I'm gonna be honest. I would do a therapeutic technique. And I think you guys know what technique I'm talking about. I would throw flowers at her, let her insult me, ask her about her book. Silence. People are so uncomfortable with silence, and silence is so powerful. Silence can be so comforting as well. If a person's ready to open up, if a person's ready to take that first step, they might make a gesture, a sound. They might open up. Someone's processing something really, really deep. You can be like, you know, going back and forth and like just like trying to empathize. Or you can just let them sit in it. You can just let them sit in their silence. Let them process it. It's uncomfy. It's really uncomfy for people. But you can use it as a way to go ahead and start communicating, to start talking, to start that form of interaction. I also probably think that she might feel comfortable with the silence, or she might be used to it considering that she's been alone. Or there doesn't seem to be a lot of other people here. So, you know, one or the other. Oh, bro.
甘酸っぱい思い出が蘇る。
友達じゃダメかな。
Oh.
友達どころか以降一度も話さなかった。
Well, do you think that that maybe started off the whole reasoning for him to look at the world this way? Maybe getting rejected? That's a big trauma, dude. Like, I hate to put it this way. It's an acute stress, right? A lot of people don't seem to know the difference. Apparently, TikTok makes everyone think that they have a trauma just from one event. Trauma is especially if it's still impacting you after, I believe it was 28 days or 6 months, depending on the scale that we're using, right? Acute stress is literally like any form of a stressful event or situation that happened, and you're still thinking about it 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in, you know. How many of you guys thought that you were gonna go with a partner, a boy or a girl? You were getting really close, and maybe you were talking to them, or maybe you thought you had it in the bag and that you guys were gonna go out, but then you got hit with the friend card, or then you got hit with the, oh no, I don't see you in that way. I have. What did that do to your self-esteem? What did that do to your idea of a friendship or relationships? You know, it's pretty normal. We've all experienced it at some point in time, and it hurts. It sucks. The first time I asked him out, knocked, it wasn't until months later I passed across to go, oh, friendship ruin, pain happened to me twice. Yeah, bro, it takes us down. And that's why it's like, it's important to highlight it and talk about it, because it's like, it's an important element that a lot of people go through. However, if you don't have a proper support network or friends or family or even yourself to process it healthily, you can form some negative dark thoughts.
まあ俺に関してはラブコメなんて現実には起きないのである。高度に訓練された俺がこんなラブコメトラップに引っかかるわけがない。女子とはイケメンに興味を示し、清くない男女交際をする輩である。つまり俺の敵だ。
What was that? What did he just do right there? It's a cognitive distortion. Girls are only into, like, overgeneralizing. Girls are only into hot men, you know, with the, like, hot bods and, like, you know, whatever. It's like, no, dude. Like, there's more to it than just that, you know. But for him, this takes priority, and this is going to start changing his mindset, or, like, you know, it's going to start influencing the way that he communicates. He's not lying, though. AZ, I've seen, there's studies out there where if you're funny, bro, what was it? I think it was, like, personality and humor was doing competitively well compared to like physique and stuff. Meanwhile, he's just standing there menacingly.
二度とあんな思いをしなくて済むためには嫌われてしまうのが一番早い。俺は挨拶代わりに雪の下を威嚇しておくことにした。キャン。
Power dynamics wise, Sensei, MC. Girl confrontation, MC. Orange girl MC. So comes in my next question. What happens the moment that orange girl and girl, what happens in that? He rolled a 1 for that dominance check. That's where my mind is going to. If immediately we're seeing that he's put in his place where he doesn't know what to do, that like he has like a kind of an indecisive, like what happens when that? Is that going to cause issues? Is that going to cause our boy to literally be like, oh, fuck, like, I'm going to fuck things up? Like, because if in a situation like this, he's already instantly falling into place. But if we were to flip it, would he know what to do? Or would he feel like any decision he makes is going to harm people? Would he try and just stale stuff out? No decision is a decision. I'm wondering, what is the mentality of our main character here as he's having these moments of confrontation, as these moments are erupting? Because for me, this is genius. This is a genius way of writing a character, because now we're seeing different forms of growth, right? Different forms of a character to try and go ahead and like overcompensate. Maybe he makes a fuck ton of friends, and maybe he grows healthily, or maybe he only makes a couple of friends, and maybe they're all kind of weird, and he has to learn how to adjust to making what real friendships are.
しておくことにした。
Sorry guys, when I get too into an anime.
すいません。
何か。
いや、いろいろ把握できてなくて、そもそもここ何部なんだ？
何か。
いや、いろいろ。
Really smart way for him to go ahead and redirect this would be like, what makes you so passionate about this club? The distance. I know the distance is amazing. You can tell that like there's like a lot of stress and whatnot and a lot of everything in there. And the accidental silence that is in there. And even like her pushing back and him immediately going into it. But like if you were in those shoes, one of the biggest ways to go ahead and redirect this is through a positive mindset, right? Which is because all of a sudden, guess what? I'm no longer on the defensive. I'm no longer in the what's the silence. I'm no longer in the form of like, oh fuck, I have to think of something. Asking a genuine question will take you miles over anybody else. Because think about it this way. I could be like, guys, I'm burnt out. I'm gonna go ahead, like, you know, the anime is no longer a thing for me. I'm gonna start analyzing movies full time, right? And following a fucking wave and shit. But am I gonna be truly passionate about that, or am I gonna burn out again, right? Especially if I'm not taking care of myself. In a situation like this, when we're seeing these two individuals, and I'm using this to highlight, where we're seeing two individuals, if there's no follow through, if my guy isn't able to have a conversation, she attacks and he redirects. Yes. It's an instant form of redirection, which is nice. It's nice that we're seeing two different forms of like communication levels that are happening at different lengths in that redirection that is going through.
把握できてなくて、そもそもここ何部なんだ？
当ててみたら？
文芸部だろ。
へえ、その心は。
この部屋の中に特殊な環境、特別な機器が存在していない。加えてあんたはずっと本を読んでいた。
外れ。
じゃあ何部なんだよ。
今私がここでこうしていることが部活動よ。
Look at the space, the distance. What do we see? What club is this in? Can you figure it out? It better not be fucking some type of like therapy or social support group or like any type of like a, oh, we're here to help you out club or something. Art club? Well, there's no art materials around. What? Oh, the Psyculturist club. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You guys should start a Psyculturists club. The camera angle is artistic and it's beautiful because we're seeing a clear divide in this. However, I will say this. I feel like this distance, of course, is going to get closer and closer and closer because propinquity, baby. Oh, it starts ramming itself inside. That sounds really dirty, but it literally starts grabbing us and gravitating us closer and closer together in a way where we're like, even if we don't want it to, like we start making friends. And sometimes we start making enemies that way, but we just got to be aware of it.
引きがやくん、女の子と話したのは何年ぶり?
Oh, dude, no need to call him out like that.
確か2年前の6月。
ちょっとマジ暑くない？
むしろ蒸し暑いよね。え
Fucking dying. Oh. Oh. Y'all ever do that thing where like someone like either someone waves at like you think someone's waving at you and you're like they're like the person behind you. Oh, dude. Someone wait. I do it on purpose. Oh, but it wasn't you. Yeah, 2 years without talking to a girl. But that's also showing, like, for himself, he internalizes a lot of things. He's a sensitive man. But, like, this is why I'm highlighting it. Is like, sometimes your words and your actions affect a lot of people. And a lot of people have a lot of anxiety. And one small instance can, like, steamrail a whole conversation and everything. And, like, for example, you can remember a person that's, like, done you wrong, that's embarrassed you. And you're like, oh, I remember this specific instance of this, right? Oof. Oof.
むしろ蒸し暑いよね。
持つものが持たざる者に慈悲の心を持ってこれを与える。人はそれをボランティアと呼ぶの。困っている人に救いの手を差し伸べる。
Now I know what you must be wondering to yourself on YouTube. How?
それがこの部の活動よ。ようこそ奉仕部へ。
A service club.
頼まれた以上、責任は果たすわ。あなたの問題を強制してあげる。
But can you fix me? She can fix me. She's gonna fix me. $1 billion. I'm just thinking, boys, if this is the service club, I mean, I want a full service, brother. It's a powerful phrase, though. I will fix your problem. You know, is he ever going to rise to a point of comfortability where he's able to go ahead and use this phrase? Not just use it, but own it and build that confidence. Hey, we're doing this for this reason, and that's okay. Could go in 101 directions. Hey, yo.
俺はな、そこそこ優秀なんだぞ。実力テスト国語学年3位、顔だっていい方だ。友達と彼女がいないことを除けば基本高スペックなんだ。
そんなこと自信満々に言えるなんてある意味すごいわね。変な人、もはや気持ち悪いわ。
うるせえ、お前に言われたくねえよ、変な女。
私が見たところによると、どうやらあなたが一人ぼっちなのって。
Based on the way that you're interacting with them, it makes me wonder, what sort of trauma do you have? Do you often have individuals that maybe only see you for how beautiful you might be and not truly see the aspects or the internal aspects of who you truly are? Why are you so involved in the service club that you decided to go ahead and start up and be alone without anybody else with you in this environment? Is this because you truly want to showcase an aspect of you doing good for people to value you, again, for your true personality and for who you truly are, aside from your looks, which a lot of people might just lead a superficial attachment or relationship with? Why do you want to go ahead and stand and deliver this in a position of power instead of trying to go ahead and lean over across and talk to me in that way? It's interesting that for you decided to go ahead and use this as a way of going ahead and not just establishing what the club is, but also talking down to him for him to have a moment of realization. Not talking down, but confronting him as a way for him to try and maybe even start taking those steps forward. Are you using this club in a way of self-therapy for you to start taking those steps forward as well? The instances of her standing up, of her doing certain things, I do wonder, even if we didn't talk for days, for months, if I were to show up every day here, not give you a word, but looked at you, would you be okay? Or would one day you just stop showing up altogether because all of a sudden this club isn't you? Would my presence here invalidate you from growth? Would my presence in here, or maybe even stopping you from completing my fixing, stop you from growth?
腐った根性やひねくれた感性が原因みたいね。それと容姿についてだけれど、美的感覚なんて主観でしかないのよ。
Oh, the teacher.
私の言うことだけが正しいの。
めちゃくちゃな意見だが筋は通ってる気がする。
さて。
I will say though, why do I love her? Why do I like her so much? Like, she's such an interesting character to just be thrown out there and like be challenging the character, the main character in this way. The intellectualization, the confrontation that comes from this is amazing, right? I totally get it.
これで人との会話シミュレーションは完了ね。はあ？私のような女の子と話ができれば、大抵の人間とも会話ができると思うわ。少しは構成したんじゃないかしら。
Do you feel rehabilitated?
俺は別に会話ができないわけじゃない。無駄な話をしないだけだ。構成など断じて必要ない。
あなたは変わらないと社会的にまず。
But what is a pointless conversation, main character? Because every conversation can be pointless if you don't put your own value into it. I can be talking to you about Warhammer 40k, and you might be like, that is the stupidest conversation I've ever heard. But to another person, I might be talking about Warhammer 40k, and they might be like, dude, that is my life. That is the essence of who I am, and I've invested so much personality of my time into building Warhammer figurines that I understand like the differences in the like value is subjective, and it's also emotional based. Seeing as though he is a cognitive based thinker and he intellectualizes things, it's as though he's detaching an aspect of what a conversation can truly have. Warhammer 40.
邪魔するぞ。ノック、あれ悪い。どうやら引きヶ谷の構成に手こずっているようだな。本人が問題を自覚していないせいです。
そうじゃねえよ。なんだその。変わるだの変われだの他人に俺の自分を語られたくないん。
Also true, and I will completely agree with them. Hachiman here has just stated something that is very true and even therapeutically. Change can only happen therapeutically if you want it to happen. If you want meaningful change, it has to come from you. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Exactly. And if you force it to drink, are they going to trust you? Are they going to be comfortable around? Are they going to build a safe and comfortable relationship with you? Probably not. Say that he goes through an aspect of change. He first has to start pre-contemplating, has to start from within. Maybe I do need to change. Maybe there needs to be instances of like change, thinking about it, preparing for it, taking an action. And then either he does it and he maintains it or he relapses. Relapse is completely normal in a process of change. Whew.
あなたのそれは逃げでしょ。
変わるってのも現状からの逃げだろ。どうして今の自分や過去の自分を肯定してやれないんだよ。
Was in the past. Ooh.
それじゃあ悩みは解決しないし、誰も救われないじゃない。二人とも落ち着きたまえ。古来より互いの正義がぶつかった時は勝負で雌雄を決するのが少年漫画の習わしだ。
何言ってるんですか？
つまりこの部でどちらが人に奉仕できるか勝負だ。強引すぎる。
Oh, it hit a nerve. It hit her nerve. But also, what is the teacher really doing? I love the sensei so much. Dude, if the sensei was a person, oh, that's all I gotta say. I'd fucking geek out. But also, what is she doing? Forcing, calming the situation? I want you guys to think about it nice and hard. Competition. Competition-based settings, another form of confrontation, also builds propinquity. Why? Because all of a sudden, even in a competition, you might have to be forced to recognize the other person's talents. Even negative propinquity is propinquity. Interesting. I love this teacher because she's the one that's sort of like driving it along so far.
勝った方が負けた方に何でも命令できるというのはどうだ？
何でもというのはいわゆる何でもということですよね。ごくり。
お断りします。この男が相手だと身の危険を感じます。
偏見だ。高二男子は卑猥なことばかり考えてるわけではない。世界平和とか
Like world peace?
oh. 雪の下雪のといえど恐れるものがあるか。そんなに勝つ自信がないのか。
As propinquity.
いいでしょう。その安い挑発に乗るのは少しばかり尺ですが。
Wow.
受けて立ちます。決まりだな。
Even the way that the teacher talks to them, she changes her strategies around them. So I'm guessing she's really, really perceptive and understands like their struggles at a deeper fundamental level than they even understand themselves. That's amazing. Like, please, I hope that you guys have had a teacher like this in your life. Because like looking at the way that she just completely switched, share, I'll say it again at the end, but it means the world. We're trying to addressing one or the other. Get this out to as many people that genuinely like this thing, you know? Boom, 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 boom. How many of you have a trigger because of this? How many of you in your life get like a weird... You hear this and you're like, wake up. Hey, wake up. Nap time's over. Like whenever you hear an alarm that like your alarm or whatnot, and another person, for them it's like a happy tone. For you that might be your wake up turn. You're like, oh, it's like it can trigger your brain for movement, right? It's interesting that for us it's like we're so used to like a high school bell, if you had a bell or whatever forced you to change along. Sometimes I hear that as an adult and I'm like, oh no. Actually, genuine question. I'm throwing this out there as a trigger since we're talking about triggers. How many of you guys get triggered whenever you're getting a call? And by that, I mean, how many of you guys get anxious? How many of you literally like, should I take that call? Or even making a call, especially when it's unknown or you don't really know what's for and whatnot. How many of you guys are comfortable making calls? Making a call to a person that like you don't know, or scheduling an appointment or anything like that? I'm going to flip it in that direction as well. I'd rather die than make a call. Because all of us have different triggering events or different things that might make us extremely comfortable or uncomfortable. For Hachiman, as we're understanding this, I'm like, I wonder for him, if he was in the here and now, which is a word that you often hear in psychology, do you think that he would be comfortable having voice calls or anything like that? Or do you think that he would just be one of those YouTube comment trolls that's like, for example, he's totally pre-read the novels before. You guys just don't know he's fucking pre-watching the show. I can totally see Hachiman like, oh, Discord one. The reason why I'm highlighting that is just because we all have different levels of interaction, social interaction. For him, not having any form of interaction like that, I kind of wonder how his life outside of school would be or is. He's too into it. There is! There totally is, brother. There totally is like a band trying to warm up or something in the background of this.
なんで俺がお前に好意を抱いてる前提で話が進んでんの？違うの？ちげえよ。その自信過剰ぶりにはさすがの俺も引くぞ。お前さ、友達いんの？
The only reason why I'm showcasing this is because it's brilliant. The band is out of tune. I wonder if this is going to get fixed throughout the show. It's such a background detail that, like, yes, your conversation is important. Don't get me wrong. We'll go back and touch on that. But, like, for me, it caught my attention because I was like, why would they put this, like, little noise back here? They could have kept it empty, put birds or whatnot. But that is so good. Surely it's a metaphor. Surely.
まずどこからどこまでが友達なのか定義してもらって。
Why don't we talk about friendships? What do friendships mean? If we were to genuinely put it, right? What does friendships mean? If we were to use this Profit Bender's ecological theory as a way of showcasing friendships, where would you put your closest friends? Would you put them in the microsystem, mesosystem, exosystem, macrosystem? Where would you put them? Best friends in the micro, friends in the meso, acquaintances, maybe superficial friends, colleagues, people that you work with. Where would you put them at in your impact circle? The reason why we're using this is a way for people to relate that there's many layers of friendships. And the more vulnerable you are, the closer that your friends should be to you, who is the individual in the center. The more vulnerable and the more that you can connect with the people, the closer that they will be in that. But if you keep everyone as that friend, like arm's length away in the mesosystem, things can get tiring and things can get quite lonely. Oh, I wonder where this is going to go.
そのセリフは友達いないやつのセリフだわ。ソースは俺。お前人に好かれそうなくせに友達いないとかどういうことだよ。
あなたにはわからないわよ。私って昔から可愛かったから近づいてくる男子は大抵私に好意を寄せてきたわ。
人に好かれてる。
True. Let's be honest. Boys, have you guys ever done that? Girls as well. Have you ever gotten close to someone just because you thought they were cute or you liked them? I'm gonna be honest, yeah. I thought someone was cute. Didn't think that it would be like just a friendship. I was like, hey, maybe we can go out on a couple of dates. They said no. Cool. Don't want a friendship, right? It's like, hey, we're trying to see where this goes in a romantic way. Aside from that, cool. I respect you. You do your own thing. My door is always open for you. I got my own stuff to deal with. For some people, it's like, no. For some people, it's like, I need emotional attachment in order to form a relationship, in order to do certain things. And even like that, if feelings grow and they don't reciprocate those feelings, guess what? That can grow into some heavy baggage and weight.
本当に誰からも好かれる。
This was in college?
それも良かったかもしれないわね。
ああ、どういう意味だ？
小学校の頃、60回ほど上履きを隠されたことがあったのだけれど。
And that's actually true. Like, one of the big aspects of being liked is being hated as well. There's so many people out there that, like, even though you think, oh yeah, people might like you because you do certain things, you can get hated. I think there's been like hate raids and people literally being extremely mean in the comments, trying to go ahead and like do certain things. Not in any of the most recent videos, but in the past, you know, people literally trying to go ahead and fabricate stuff. You can literally have, yeah, crabs in a bucket scenario because someone's trying to succeed. People might pull you down. It can be rough. And I think, I don't know if you guys have experienced it at some point in time, but it is something we're talking about. In a scenario like it for her, can she truly trust people when those around her might try and harm her the same way?
うち50回は女子にやられたわ。おかげで私は毎日上履きとリコーダーを持って帰る羽目になったわ。
大変だったんだろ。
ええ、大変よ。
Yeah.
私可愛いから。でも仕方ないと思うわ。人は皆完璧ではないから。弱くて醜くてすぐに嫉妬し蹴落とそうとする。不思議なことに優秀な人間ほど生きづらいのよ。そんなのおかしいじゃない。だから変えるのよ。人ごとこの世界を。
努力の方向がぶっ飛びすぎだろ。
それでもあなたのようにグダグダ乾いて。
It's interesting because you're two opposites. It's interesting because both of them view the world differently, but yet they connect on a very similar level. One of them's like, fuck the world, fuck everything, right? And the other one's like, I'm going to try and change the world. One of them's sulking in the world and the other one wants to go ahead and change it, but yet they're both sitting in the same. They're coming from different directions and they'll probably intersect at some point. And that's another phenomenal way of looking at it, Traffy. We could talk about like their power dynamics crossing through and they're going to intersect at some point. But just through this, the way they built this out, two different dynamics, two different perspectives, and trying to go ahead and equalize and grow from it. Which they can. They can. Totally.
あなたのそうやって弱さを肯定してしまう部分嫌いだわ。
雪の下は持つものゆえの苦悩を抱えている。それを隠してごまかしながらうまくやることは難しくないはずだ。
And here's why. And I'm going to challenge you guys because you're like, well, he had to have shown up for anybody that's out there. Did he? Did she? Throwing that out there. At any point in time, he could have been like, you know what? Teacher, weird moment. Okay, whatever. I'm going to go ahead and step back. I don't have to go today. I have my own life to live. Why would I want to go and interact with people? So there's something inside of him that sparks an aspect of change. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come here. There's something inside of her that sparked her to still come in today and still hold true and still try and go and have a conversation.
世の中の人間はそうしているのだから。けれど、雪の下はそれをしない。
Bro, I'm enthralled.
決して嘘をつかない。きっと俺と彼女はどこか似ている。柄にもなくそんな
Yes.
ことを思ってしまった。今はこの沈黙すら心地いいとそう感じていた。心臓の刻む律動が秒針の速度を追い越してもっと先へ進みたいとそう言ってる気がした。なら俺と彼女はなあ雪の下
Nope.
なんなら俺が友達
And he's trying so hard. and he was actually trying to. Oh.
まだ最後まで言ってないのに。
It was the power of silence, but also the power of timing, bro. You don't just want to come out from like being silent to like, hey, let's be friends. Like,
失礼します。平塚先生に言われてきたんですけど、
Why do I feel like she has a mask on? Why do I feel like she's wearing a mask? Everyone has a mask. Don't get me wrong, Letta. But sometimes that mask is so evident that you wonder if you want people to either love the mask of you or the real you. And the reason why I say this is I interact, again, I do a lot of counseling, a lot of therapy. I often see individuals who want me to love the mask that they portray onto themselves. You can tell me the story about, oh yes, and I cooked dinner and I made a bunch of muffins and cookies and oh my God, and the cookies that I made were fantastic and they helped out with my anxiety and I'm feeling so much better. But your dad died today. Why are you lying? Are you trying to make me be content with this happy image of yourself that you're portraying at the moment? Or are you trying to love this mask that you've placed on yourself with this? So you guys have an idea as to what I'm talking about. But people do this all the time. We all wear masks. Masking is okay to an extent, because then comes the point. Do you want people, for example, if I ask this, how many of you have done it where at some point in your life, you've asked people or you've consciously or unconsciously made people fall in love with the mask of you? Not who you truly are, but a version of you that's maybe superficial or maybe is only like certain things and whatnot, because it was easier for people to like that version of you than the real you. JP, yeah. Oh.
2年 F 組由比ヶ浜由依さんよね。とにかく座って。私のこと知ってるんだ。
Interesting. She could have placed it anywhere else, and she chose it next to her. She's the one that will save you. She's the one that's here. She strikes me like, for me, I'm building an archetype of her. I'm jumping to conclusions, which is a cognitive distortion in of itself. I've interacted with a lot of people similar in this regard, you know, with the over bigness and whatnot. As I mentioned, people often try and fall in love with the mask of them, but they also try and fall in love with the paratactic distortions present or the masks that are presented as well, because it's easier to live in a facade than it is to accept the truth.
私のこと知ってるんだ。
全校生徒覚えてんじゃねえの？
いいえ、あなたのことなんて知らなかったもの。
そうですか。
気にすることないわ。あなたの存在から目をそらしたくなってしまう。私の心の弱さが悪いのよ。
お前それ慰めてるつもりなの？
ただの皮肉よ。
Is the main character, like, aspect of change, the title, actually going to change? Like, if Orange Girl here stays with this group or solidifies in this group, the way that the opening shows, is an aspect, a big aspect of change going to come through this? Because right now we're being forced in her seat, especially if you have headphones on and you can hear this. We're literally being forced in an environment where we're hearing this happen.
あなたの存在から目をそらしたくなってしまう。私の心の弱さが悪いのよ。
お前それ慰めてるつもりなの？
ただの皮肉よ。
No sarcasm.
なんか楽しそうな部活だね。それにヒッキーよく喋るよね。いや、なんていうか、ヒッキーもクラスにいる時と全然違うし、なんつうかいつもは挙取り方キモいし。
このビッチめ。
はあ？ビッチってなんだし、私はまだなんでもない。
She's really observant of him, isn't she? She's very observant of him, isn't she? You don't talk much. You're this, you're that. It makes me wonder, oh, hold on, boys. What do we have here, boys? This is a Bowlby's and Ainsworth's attachment styles, by the way, in case you guys are wondering. Who is the individual that is anxious? They struggle communicating their needs, or they can tend to overact out and they act out a little too much, dramatize, and oh my God, who's downplays the importance of relationships and is usually can be extremely self-reliant and can become vulnerable. I don't know if he can become vulnerable if there's a big crisis or a situation like that where they might take on the blame or, you know, be like, I'm the villain, I have to be this individual or whatnot. 8-man is dismissive. Who's fearful? More dependent in relationships and avoidant. Fears rejection, fears strong rejection, maybe has self-esteem issues, high anxiety in any relationship. Who is secure that we've seen, can trust fairly easily, is attuned to emotions? Sensei. No, it's Sensei. So far, it's Sensei. So far, from what I've seen, I can put Sensei insecure. We can probably put Hachiman in dismissive. This show is fitting the attachment styles presented in here. If this is true, and this is how they act out in this regard, attuned to their attachment styles, oh.
別に恥ずかしいことではないでしょ。この年でバー。ちょっと何言ってんの？氷でまだとか恥ずかしいよ。雪の下さん女子力足んないんじゃないの？くだらない価値観ね。
にしても女子力って単語がもうビッチ臭いよな。また言った。人をビッチ呼ばわりとかありえない。ヒッキーマジでキモい。ビッチ呼ばわりと俺のキモさは関係ねえだろ。それとヒッキー言うなビッチ。本当さキモい。つかマジありえない。
Hey yo.
はあ？
ヒッキー。
クッキー？
手作りクッキーを食べてほしい人がいるの。
We're gonna have to back it up just a second. It fucking happens and it's not meant to happen, and we're talking about psychology here. Oh shit, bro. This moment is so good. Oh. Alright, where was there a triangle, brother? Cooking is measurement, boys. Cooking is measurement. Wash your hands before you cook. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Oh, I love this.
Huh? Cook?
No, no, no. It's the reverse Maslow's. No, no, no. It's the reverse Maslow's on there. It's a reverse triangle. It's a meal balance guide that's on there for a fraction of a second. That's funny. That's hilarious.
手作りクッキーを食べてほしい人がいるのだそうよ。でも自信がないから手伝ってほしいというのが彼女のお願い。
そんなの友達に頼めよ。
それはあんまり知られたくないし、こんなマジっぽい雰囲気友達とは合わないから。
そうですか。
それに平塚先生から聞いたんだけど、この部って生徒のお願い叶えてくれるんだよね。
いいえ。
Wouldn't it be funny if, like, the only one that can cook well is him? Because I'm thinking about this. I'm like, home ec, they have their aprons on. And if we're building up a comedy aspect, just throw it on where he's, like, the only decent one. And let him cook.
飢えた人に魚を与えるのではなく、取り方を教えて自立を促すの。
Actually, a really good supportive care model right there. Breaking bread. How do you build rapport quicker than anything else? You eat, you break bread, you make food. That is a great way of actually being able to go ahead and form relationships. Let them cook. Let them cook, chat.
あなたエプロンもまともに着られないの？
ごめん、ありがとう。
で、俺は何をすれば？
味見して感想をくれればいいのよ。なぜあれだけミスを重ねることができるのかしら。
ホームセンで売ってる木炭みたいになってんぞ。
おお。
毒味だ。
どこが毒だし。やっぱりどこかな。
死なないかしら。さて、どうすれば良くなるか考えましょう。
由比ヶ浜が二度と料理しないこと。
それで解決しちゃ
うんだ。やっぱり
私、料理に向いてないのかな。才能っていうの？そういうのないし。
解決方法は努力あるのみよ。由比ヶ浜さん、あなたさっき才能がないって言ったわね。
うん。
その認識を改めなさい。最低限の努力もしない人間には才能がある人を羨む資格はないわ。成功できない人間は成功者が積み上げた努力を想像できないから。
So the way that she's approaching this is really interesting because it's very similar to a supportive services or case manager, therapist, care team, like an integrated care, which has become insanely popular, I think, in a lot of places, which is, again, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. We're not just going to sit here and solve your issues. We're going to give you the skills that you need so that you can solve your issues because we're not going to be around all the time. And even like the redirecting the narrative self-talk, that is powerful. And that is actually how you get people to start like the process of change. And she's doing this so like nonchalantly. It's awesome.
成功できないのよ。
でもさ、最近みんなやんないって言うし、こういうの合ってないんだよ。
その周囲に合わせようとするのやめて。
She's just like me for real, for real. She's cooking, bro. She's just like me. Evo Ed is just Yukino. Same, for real, bro. Can you stop trying to match the people around you? Very confrontational, but very direct. And it needs to be stated, this mask that you're wearing, why? Are you, like, for example, the person that you're trying to give these cookies to, is it because you genuinely like them? Or is it just because people like them, so you have to like them as well? And so you've infatuated with yourself with the idea of liking an individual because you have to keep wearing this mask. And that's what you get with the whole philosophy of trying to match people. You go with the tides.
自分の不器用さ、無様さ、愚かしさの永遠を他人に求めるなんて恥ずかしくない。
かっこいい。建前とか全然言わないんだ。なんていうか、そういうのかっこいい。
In comes in the defense mechanism again. You get challenged. Whoa, that's so cool. Oh, I can feel your words. And it's like not really taking it in and analyzing it. And it's interesting that for her, when that pushback that finally comes through confuses her. Awesome to see this small interaction, this ping pong mechanic here.
話聞いてたのかしら。結構きついこと言ったつもりだけど。
確かに言葉はひどかった。けど、でも本音って感じがするの。私、人に合わせたばっかだったから。ごめん、次はちゃんとやる。
正しいやり方教えてやれよ。
一度お手本見せるから、その通りにやってみて。全然違う。
Yeah.
どう教えれば伝わるのかしら。
さ、なんでお前らうまいクッキー作ろうとしてんの？
は？何が言いたいの？
Because it's the meaning behind it, right? Hey, chat, someday I will be giving Senor Pinguino away. Someday, you know, it might not be the most perfect, amazing Pinguino out there, but I might be giving Senor Pinguino away to one of you guys because he has a lot of sentimental value for me. And for those of you guys that know it, if you approach it, don't matter if it's the like newest model of Pinguino or whatnot. For you, this might carry a lot of value for you, especially if it's helped you in some way, shape, or form, right? Or especially if it comes from someone that like it has a meaning towards it. And that's one way to think about food. And that's one way to think about breaking bread and even cooking and approaching a scenario like that. Sorry, guys. You guys were like, what? You're giving Senor Pinguino? It became too real for y'all.
10分後ここへ来てください。俺が本当の手作りクッキーってやつを見せてあげますよ。
That's what I would have approached.
これで勝負は俺のターン。
これが本当の手作りクッキーなの？
あんま美味しくない。
そっか。悪い。捨てるわ。
待って。別に捨てなくても言うほどまずくないし。
ま、お前が作ったクッキーなんだけど。
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. But the value, the added value of like the the pressure there.
どういうことかしら？
これは俺の友達の友達の話なんだが。何かあるたびに話しかけてくる女子がいたそうだ。もうこれ絶対自分のこと好きだよと。
Eight-head thinking.
じゃなくて、そいつは思った。で、意を決して聞いてみることにしたんだ。
好きなやつを教えてよ。イニシャルでいいから。
H。
Bro, you probably took that and you ran with it. Oh, brother. I feel like a lot of this comes from his own actions that he got this trauma from. I'm just saying, like it feels like a majority of this has come from him jumping to conclusions or, pulling the gun too early, like, ooh. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we're 5 people away from 4,500 followers here on Twitch. Appreciate y'all. Y'all are fucking goats.
俺のこと？
何言ってんの？マジキモい。やめてくんない？
Oh.
ちょっと待って。あなたのその経験談。
Based on your experience.
友達の友達だ。
で、そこから何を導けばいいのかしら。
Based on your experience.
単純なんだよ。話しかけられただけで勘違いするし、手作りクッキーってだけで喜ぶの。だから美味しくなくたっていいんだよ。
美味しくない？うるさい。
まあ、お前が頑張ったんだって姿勢が伝わりゃ、男心も揺れるんじゃねえの。
そういうものかしら。
ヒッキーも揺れるの？
お？
Hey, yo.
ああ、もう超揺れるね。っていうかヒッキーって呼ぶな。
Hey, yo! Wait a minute. Are we actually... Oh, this is gonna get ugly, isn't it? Like, this is legitimately, like, if this keeps evolving at a weird, like, at a pace where, like, propinquity and these attachment styles start intermingling with one another. Oh, I can see this turning really ugly really quickly. Oh, no. Oh, no, bro. Don't fall for it, Hachiman. Like, I can see him being on the defensive or him having to make an ultimatum and literally shooting himself in the foot. Like, you know, here's the thing with attachment styles. When you have different attachment styles, people react differently towards pressure, towards pain. Say that somebody comes up to you and is like, hey, touch me, Domo. Daisuki. And you're like, and Kraith or Sagisu comes up to you and it's like, Daisuki. And you're avoidant attachment. Guess what? Now you have to make a choice. If you're avoidant dismissive, now you have to make a choice. Touch me. Who are you going to pick? Are you going to pick Sagus? Are you going to pick Letta? Are you going to pick me? Are you going to pick Sensei? Who are you going to pick? That's exactly why I bring it up. I bring this up because the different attachment styles at work and combined with one another, with everything that we've covered so far, can lead to like a really fucked up scenario going forward. I'm not like the other guys. Oh.
本当に良かったのかしらね。先週の由比ヶ浜さんの依頼。
なんだよ急に。
私は自分を高められるなら限界まで挑戦すべきだと思うの。それが最終的には由比ヶ浜さんのためになるんじゃないかと。
努力は自分を裏切らない。夢を裏切ることはあるけどな。
え？
努力しても夢が叶うとは限らない。むしろ叶わないことの方が多いだろう。でも、頑張った事実がありゃ慰めにはなる。
ただの自己満足よ。甘いのね。何か？
何あまり歓迎されてない？雪の下さん、私のこと。
別に嫌いじゃないわ。ちょっと苦手かしら。
それ女子言葉じゃ同じことだからね。
で、
Well, what does it mean to like someone? Also, yeah, hello. Hold on, chat. We gotta back it up here.
満足よ。甘いのね。気持ち悪い。
Everyone. Yeah, hello. Yeah, guys, Chad, that's what we gotta do from now on. You ready? Yeah, hello. Everyone in chat just fucking yeah helloing. Oh no. If you're on YouTube, you better leave a fucking yeah hello as well. Somebody clip that. Oh no. That's your new introduction now. Oh god. It only gets better, Ed.
Yeah, hello. 何か？何あまり歓迎されてない？雪の下さん、私のこと嫌い？
What I was getting at is, what is the levels of friendships and what is the levels of liking, right? That is an interesting concept to also tackle, right? What is the difference between like and love? Can you really, 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 really like someone and also it can like it carry a lot of like meaning or similar meanings to what love is? And in the same way, like, can you really be close to someone in a way that's still not a friendship but can be a friendship type of aspect? What is the difference between superficiality and deep in that way versus liking and loving someone in that way as well?
別に嫌いじゃないわ。ちょっと苦手かしら。
それ女子言葉じゃ同じことだからね。
で、何か
Or being okay and liking.
この間のお礼っての？クッキー作ってきたから。
私、あまり食欲が。
いやー、やってみると楽しいよね。今度お弁当とか作っちゃおうかな。あてさ、ゆきの。いやー、やってみると楽しいよね。今度。
It's nice that she did this, but her coming in here, she could have done this and put it in their boxes and for their shoes or whatnot, but yet she didn't. She came in, she sat down, she gave it to them. Why? But this face right here makes me wonder if something else happened. That for her, maybe it was directly running into this scenario. Maybe there was another intention in mind before coming into this. And then like putting on that mask of, yeah, hello, right? And coming in here, oh, I brought this, whatnot. To whatever, entertain that idea. This face right here is what caught my attention. This face right here, even for just a quick second. Yes, it might be to form a connection or whatnot, but it might also be because there's more at play, psychologically speaking, internally, for her to like actually come through and do whatever she did, you know? know? I'm not saying it's a negative ulterior motive or like something evil in any way, shape, or form. Not at all. I'm saying that sometimes whenever we're stressed or whenever we feel something, we often go to a place that we feel safe. And I wonder if she feels safe here with the environment that she's seen between them, that she's able to go ahead and do this and break bread.
部室でお昼一緒に食べようよ。いえ、
私は一人で食べるのが好きだからそういうのは。
I'm not inclined.
それからユキノンって気持ち悪い。
あ、でさユキノン、私も放課後とか暇だし、部活手伝うね。いやもう何？これもお礼だから。ユイガーマさん。ヒッキー。
おー。
一応お礼の気持ち。ヒッキーも手伝って。
Oh my God. She's adorable too, though. She's adorable too, though.
まがまがしいな、おい。そこはかとなく不吉だが、お礼というならありがたくもらっておこう。
Yeah, because she did it. Because she baked that. And she gave it. Wow. Wow. He tackled a trauma point. Not really resolves, but is able to go ahead and counter this point again. And he's able to start, like, at least take that next step. That is such an amazing way, because it happens in life in general, right? Where sometimes we remember acute, like, stressed incidents or traumatic points in our life. And we realize how, as an adult, maybe we had to go ahead and tackle that same point, and maybe the result was different. Maybe this time we were able to grow, or maybe this time we got hit, but not as hard. Replacing traumas with some good memories, but the relapse is what I'm scared for, especially for Hachiman here. Hiki. Oh. All right, let's take a quick look at the ending here. Okay, actual genuine question though. How many of you guys miss your high school experience or your college experience? What do you miss more and why? Oh man. Oh, there's more? There's more? The 8th grade syndrome? Wait, is an 8th grade syndrome being chuny? Because that's what my chuny... Yeah. That's what my chuny kid would say. Where he was like, people say that I have 8th grade syndrome, but they don't know. Oh, I fucking love him. I still miss him, dude. He was fucking amazing. Your request is to heal your mental illness. Oh. Oh. Oh no, brother. I'm fucking dead. It's very similar, bro. It's very similar. You don't understand the power of this hand that I can use to exorcise the demons and the hollows from this world. I still remember some of the good moments of just fucking laughing and shit. That is so good, man. I can hit you guys with 1,001 other theories of like Kohlberg's development. We can go into different Piaget reading, power and control cycles and whatnot. Even polyvagal theory. But I really do think that that's probably best saved for probably another episode. Through that though, I do want to talk about this show because I didn't expect for it to be this good. And I think you guys are well aware of it. Holy crap. This show, for the first episode, it has so much to go ahead and analyze. And I think that like it might have gone under the radar for a lot of people, like the depth that this show has, right? There's a lot of interesting power dynamics. There's a lot of amazing things in here for people to go ahead and dissect. I'm impressed. Color me impressed. What a fantastic first episode, guys. I'm excited. I'm really, really excited to keep going through this. I hope the editors can get this up quickly so that way the people on YouTube can get on it and pass it through. And through this, guys, when you guys see this go live on YouTube, make sure to hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share. It'll help out a ton with the algorithm, especially reach other people that can come and join us. If you guys want to come and join us here on Twitch, we will tend to do this probably either Friday or Sunday. Join the Discord to stay updated. Man, I'm so fucking excited. This was one hell of a show. I love the characters. The character dynamics in this is one of my favorite that I've seen so far. And the fact that they're actually able to explore some of these themes that for a lot of people might be superficial, but if you actually pay attention, it's fucking deep. so good, man. It is so fucking good. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen on YouTube, I appreciate y'all. I hope you guys practice that self-care. Stay hydrated. I hope to see you around. Come and join us, man. It's super duper fun.